Hello again, everybody. My name is Joe Lynch, and I have a story for you tonight that's really near and dear to my heart. And a true story, too, I guarantee it. You see, it's the 6th of May, and it was on the 6th of May, 43 years ago, that I first landed in Australia. So, happy days. I'll tell you how it all came about. I was born the youngest of 11 children in West Cork, just near the Cork and Kerry mountains of old. And we were all packed into this tiny little house in a small little farm. I was born just a month out from Christmas, and it so happened that it was the coldest winter on record. And so for Christmas, my sister Bridie, she was 9 years of age at the time, she decided that she'd give the baby a bath. Now, we didn't have any such luxuries as hot water or heating or even electricity for matter. There was no electricity in the whole area. But Bridie decided anyway she was going to bath the baby for the Christmas, and she found an old iron tub and she filled it up with the water that came flowing down from the snow-capped peaks of the Kerry mountains above us. And she stripped me down from my swaddling clothes. This is no word of a lie. Bridie will be watching this now over in New Jersey. Bridie, am I telling a word of a lie? No. Right. Well, she stripped me down and she commissioned one of our other sisters to keep stirring the water because there was a thin film of ice starting to appear on the top of it. And if it was left to itself, it had turned into a little mini skating rink. So when she had me all ready to go, she caught my skinny frame and stuck me down into this freezing brine. My brothers have often said to me over the years, they said, Joe, that was when you first developed your singing lungs. My mother was outside in the yard and she heard the god-awful screeching. She came running in just in time and pulled me out. I turned a nice midnight blue by now. I don't know whether that has anything to do with this or not, but I hate the cold. I hate the cold with a passion. And when I grew up big enough and I heard about sunny Australia, I thought to myself, I'm off to Australia and I will never be cold again. So it so happened I landed in Australia in, as it happened, one of the coldest winters in Australian record. It was my second time landing somewhere in a very cold winter. And I landed, like I say, on the 6th of May. I got a job straight away in Sydney. And 2 months later, in the middle of July, oh God, it was bitter cold. The foreman says to me, Joe, you'll have to come with me. We're going out to the town of Orange. You'll have to drive back an old lorry that the boys left out there. They left it there for some reason. They should have it brought back, but they didn't. Hop in. And we took off. This beautiful car with a lovely warm heater in it. I was dressed something like I am now, not even like this. And we drove up over the Blue Mountains. A lot of people watching this now will know exactly where I mean. And down the other side, you're about 4 hours drive, I suppose, and into the town of Orange. And we drove around, and with the lights of the car, 'twas dusk of evening now. There we spotted the old jalopy over there, an old bull-nosed Dodge. Oh, an awful looking wreck of a thing altogether. And on closer inspection, I saw that there was no windscreen on the lorry. And I'm going to have to drive it back now through the night in possibly the coldest night of the year. It started worse luck for me. And the foreman says to me, you'll be right so. And he just drove away. You're a nice lad. And I tore into it up the mountainside. And I can't describe to you how cold it was. When I got to the town of Blackheath, up on top of the Blue Mountains, it had already started snowing. And I stayed driving along, and the snow just kept pouring in the windscreen, until the whole lorry now was full up with snow, totally white. The only thing that wasn't white in there was my eyes. Maybe they looked like strawberries or something. But I stayed going. and it stayed snowing all the way back to Sydney. And I believe with all my heart that I would have died on that mountain that night had it not been for my sister Bridie conditioning me and preparing me for this night in my future. So I thought I'd write a little poem just to preserve the story the best I can. Here we go. I was ploughing fields in Ireland when I stopped one day to read the magazine Australia, and I felt a burning need, a need for sandy beaches, Tooheys beer and Riches. Come to the sun, it proudly said, and before I had it read, I was surfing with the Sheilas in my head. Mid-July in Orange, and the foreman says to me, Joe, you'll have to drive that old lorry there to Sydney by the sea. They need it for the morning. Go now, make no delay. So there's only the Blue Mountains standing in your way. So I drove her up the mountain. I was young by, and I was keen, but I had ne'er a jumper, and the lorry no windscreen. Upward, ever upward, upward through the night, and when I reached the summit, Blackheath was turning white. White powder snow came drifting into my limousine, drifting in the windscreen, or where the windscreen should have been. I was shivering and shaking. I thought, I'll surely croak. Come to the sun. My sorry backside. That must have been all a joke. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to my story. It's a true story. And Bridie, over there in New Jersey, cheers to you. Happy days, my dear sister. Good night, all.